Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Let's try this again, and hopefully it's better. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and it's been a long night. This is attempt number 2 for this live review of Monday Night Raw. Hopefully the connection is better this time. If anybody does appear in the live chat, let's hope we get better feedback. So far, it seems to be working better. I know this was before I was doing other things when I left my computer on, so I had to restart the computer. So far it looks like we're better. So I know Tyler joined us in the live chat before, had a few comments about AEW Grand Slam. He was saying this stream is going to be a little bit... Yep, okay, excellent. Tyler, good to have you back, man. Make sure, of course, leave your thoughts again. I'll try to get a better response. Like I said, the first attempt, like I said, I don't know what was going on my internet. I think I may just have my computer on too long. But we are here tonight to do a live review of Monday Night Raw. And also, I did want to talk about the releases that happened from WWE this past week. And the couple that happened with AEW as well. So... I do want to be able to touch on all of that. If you're in the live chat, of course, before we get started, I'm much more prepared this time. Let me know which topic you want to talk about first, the releases or do the Raw review. Raw overall was a fine show. It wasn't groundbreaking by any means. We did, of course, get one WrestleMania match made official that I figured that we would. Mostly, just a couple more qualifying matches and other little things to, steer things in another direction. Nothing really like that must see, you must repeat again. But overall, it was a solid episode of Raw. I would say it was a great episode, but it was solid. It was effective and got the job done. Tyler asked to talk about the releases first. So if that is the case, we will talk about the releases first. And it's regarding WWE releases and AEW releases. And the crazy part is, one of them from AEW, 24 hours later, was already in WWE. So as soon as he got released, boop, 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 Hunter, take me in. And he's in NXT now. So we will talk about that as well. Alright, so since that's the case, since so far Tyler's the only one here, we're going to get rolling because I do want to also go upstairs and watch the new episode of SVU before I go to bed. And we will go from there. And I'm hoping for a great Valentine's Day tomorrow with my wife. So, we'll talk about the releases first, per Tyler's request. So the WWE, last Friday and over the weekend, released some stars. Now, I don't know if all of them, because some of them I heard their contracts were expiring, and they just chose not to renew their contracts. And I think some of them were released and have the whole 90-day no-compete clause and something like that. So I'm not sure about everyone's story. But let's just go over this releases very briefly, real quick. Starting with the WWE releases. So, it was also reported last week before the actual releases happened that Duke Hudson, who is an NXT, of course, part of the Chase University group that I think has disbanded. I'm not sure because I don't watch NXT all the time. Duke Hudson apparently was released at some point in January. I think his is more so of a contract expiration. I don't know much about him. Like I said, only things I remember was that I know that he was in Chase University. I do remember he was in one of the NXT Breakout Star tournaments. I think he had some feud during NXT 2.0 with Cameron Grimes, and there was like a whole hair versus hair match or something like that I think Hudson lost. And I also briefly remember during the pandemic era, he actually was briefly a tag team with Shane Thorne, but he was as Brendan Vink. And apparently Vince was very high on him when he was around. So yeah, I don't know if it just had nothing left for him to do, but he apparently was quietly released at some point in January. Last Friday, they released Paul Ellering and the authors of Pain after just a year back with the company after a 3-year hiatus. Yeah. AOP surprisingly did not work out well this second run back. I don't know what it was. It's just like a lot of these releases may just be victims of damaged goods. You know, AOP was excellent in NXT. They were booked right to the T, got called up to the main roster. They immediately pulled Paul Ellering from them, gave them Drake Maverick, and of course we cannot forget the whole AOP storyline. Remember Survivor Series? Drake Maverick, Big Show, Drake Maverick wetting himself. God almighty, oh my gosh, that was horrible. That was so bad. And I felt like after that, and between their constant injuries, AOP just never recovered. They brought them back with Karrion Kross and the Final Testament. Look, Karrion Kross, I'm worried about Karrion Kross too. I'm surprised he didn't get released because he hasn't been like you hear his interviews, especially the ones he's done with Chris Van Vliet, and he's a very artistic man. I just feel like though what he's putting on paper is not like flowing on TV as well as it should. I mean, right now he's doing this whole thing of like devil on your shoulder type gimmick, which cool, but it's like I know Karrion can be a main eventer. And I really thought this group with him and Authors of Pain was going to be excellent, but Paul Ellering was kind of pointless in the group, yes. And I still think also they debuted the group at the wrong time. I think they should have waited until after WrestleMania last year, honestly, to debut the group. But, you know, it is what it is. Didn't work out. You know, not going to lose sleep over it. Blair Davenport. I did like Blair Davenport when I saw her in NXT UK. I did think she had a lot of potential for sure. I remember I thought she was going to be one to dethrone Meiko Satomura before that happened. When they had the title unification matches at Worlds Collide and Mandy Rose beat Meiko Satomura instead. But yeah, Blair, it's kind of like she's kind of like another Cameron Grimes. You know, talented, you know, great. But she got brought up to the main roster and they just did nothing with her. I remember she had like a brief feud with Naomi, and they kind of briefly had her teaming up with the Unholy Union with against Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, even though it was weird because although of course they go back and forth, they were tag champs, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were technically Raw superstars. So, but other than that, it's like they just gave her nothing to do. Nothing. So why call her up? So, just wasn't a place for her, unfortunately, and it just didn't work. The two big ones, though, well, one that I'm very surprised they released, which these are all back on the 7th, was Sonya Deville. Now, I think apparently Sonya's case is the fact that her contract is just not getting renewed. I'm more surprised they're doing this because the fact she was part of a stable with the Pure Fusion Collective, or as Some people call it the pure effing cringe. The theme song I thought was cool, but look, a lot of people do admire Sonya for like what she does in her personal life. But in the ring, I'm sorry, like the best she was when she feuded with Mandy during the pandemic in 2020. That was definitely, no doubt about it, her best run. She had that incident with the guy breaking into her house. She took some time off, and then she came back in that general manager role, and she just became just a typical spoiled cheap heat heel. Like, I'm sorry, the GM stuff didn't work, and I think the big reason why it didn't work for me was because she had a long, never-ending feud with Naomi, and we never found out why she hated Naomi so much. Could they not say the reason why? But, and then of course she was tag teams with Chelsea Green. But then she got hurt, that ACL injury. And then she came back and formed the Pure Fusion Collective, which could have worked. Having it be like 3 MMA style fighters. But at the end of the day, it really hasn't worked. So I don't know what Sonya and Shayna and Zoe are going to do now. But yeah, that one surprised me. But like I said, apparently her situation was her contract expired. I think she was one who the contract expired. But they chose not to re-sign it. She's probably going to go to like TNA or like something. I don't think she will go to AEW. But TNA, I think she's more likely to go to. And then finally, the biggest one to me from the 7th was Cedric Alexander. Now, I've heard conflicting reports about Cedric. I did first hear that his contract expired. But then I heard that apparently he did re-sign a new deal back in September. If that was the case, like, that's a little fishy as to why they still released him, even though they just re-signed him. Even though I'm not going to lie, when he went back to NXT, and after hearing the interview with Dijak, I couldn't help but feel the same thing about Cedric. Even though, once again, it may not be the same scenario, because Dijak, they let his contract run out. But Cedric, again, like I said, I first heard that his contract expired. But then I'm also hearing reports saying that he did sign a new deal back in September. So I don't know which one was true. But poor Cedric. Like I said, the guy, first off, was one of the best things about the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016. In 2018, when Triple H briefly took over writing for 205 Live, like him, Mustafa Ali, Buddy Murphy, Hideo Itami, all these names, which all of them are now gone, by the way, in case you didn't notice, were just stealing the show. Having excellent matches. Cedric had a great run as Cruiserweight Champion. And I got to meet Cedric at WrestleMania Access when I went to WrestleMania 35. And even so, again, he was just a cool dude. He was a cool dude. I got to tell him he deserved to be main eventing WrestleMania and being world champion, which he very appreciated me saying that, of course, and telling him how he had a great run with the Cruiserweight title and whatnot. He was very humble, very appreciative, very good man. Surprisingly, though, they kept him around as long as they did, because they finally took him off 205 Live and put him on Raw. Kind of gave him a brief push in 2019, but then they buried him when he feuded with AJ Styles for the US title. I still will not forgive WWE for putting AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander on the pre-show at what, Clash of Champions in 2019? Clash of Champions, Night of Champions, whichever one it was. I still can't believe they did that. I saw that, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That is a main event caliber match. That could have been a WrestleMania match, for crying out loud. And you put it on the freaking pre-show. And then he did kind of get things going again, of course, when he turned heel and joined the Hurt Business. But we all know what happened with that story as well with the Hurt Business. And then even after Triple H took over, like I said, at that point, it was just damaged goods. It was not going to work. And Cedric, unfortunately, was a victim of damaged goods. I know they teased him teaming up with Ashante the Adonis. Then he went back to NXT. He didn't even fight for the NXT Championship, but like I said, after hearing the Dijak interview, I was worried that it would probably was getting close to being time for Cedric to go. Like I said, either way though, I still think of all the people who were released who AEW should grab, get Cedric Alexander, put him back with the Hurt Syndicate, and all will be good. So I do hope that one goes to AEW. The rest of them, I don't really care too much for as to where they go. And then the next day, on February the 8th, they also released Isla Dawn, Gallows and Anderson, which apparently Anderson is out with an injury right now. Ouch. And Giovanni Vinci, they're released on February 8th. So Isla Dawn, which they didn't release Alba Fire. I'm pretty sure, though, Triple H, when he gave her the NXT UK Women's title, I'm pretty sure that Triple H probably sees more in her than he did with Isla. Although I think Isla had a share of injuries as well, too. But if I can be 100% honest, I never was super impressed with Isla Dawn. I tried to, get behind her in NXT UK as the White Witch. She turned heel and kind of became like a Hex Girl, and eventually formed a tag team with Alba Fire or Kaylee Ray. Can we make her Kaylee Ray again, by the way? Quit this stupid Alba Fire crap. I don't like it. But she seemed like she could have succeeded more as a character gimmick, and not so much in the ring. But yeah, I know she got injured a few times too as well, so that could be one thing. Gallows and Anderson, like I said, I think they're just damaged goods. To me, I just feel like they never recovered after the stuff they did with the New Day in 2016. All Day, having those constant big losses, to me, them leaving AJ Styles, and heck, you tried to put them back together twice, even through Mia Yim this time, and it still didn't work. So, that doesn't surprise me either. And then there's Giovanni Vinci, which I kind of feel bad because I really feel like Imperium would have been booked a lot better had Vince McMahon not briefly come back. Because they should have been tag team champions before they split them up. But then, of course, they had Ludwig take out Vinci. Vinci gets moved to SmackDown the draft. Never gets his comeuppance. And then debuts this rich boy gimmick, and he loses twice to Apollo Crews. Then we never saw him again. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan again, or not sure of what to think of his new gimmick when he got the vignettes and came back. But after that, he was off TV for months. I'm like, it doesn't surprise me he got released. I thought he was good. I've seen some of his matches when he was Fabian Eichner. I thought he, was a phenomenal wrestler. But he just never found the right gimmick. And yeah, so that was unfortunate for sure. And then finally for WWE, apparently on Sunday last week, Elektra Lopez got moved to the alumni page. Which that one also surprises me, because to me, I thought she was doing fine with Legado del Fantasma. To me, up until recently, since B-Fab has been wrestling more, to me, she wasn't doing much more than what B-Fab was doing with the Street Profits. But yeah, with the fact that they released her, it was kind of a thing where it's like, okay, you released her, but to me, it's like, she was no different on a different level than what the rest of Legado del Fantasma was. So, I don't know. That one's a weird one as well, too. But yeah, the only people out of all these releases I can see going to AEW is Cedric Alexander. Rest of them, probably some other smaller promotion. I don't see them going to AEW. But those are the WWE releases. The AEW ones. So, they finally let Ricky Starks, Malakai Black, and Miro. They finally let them all go. Miro was doing absolutely nothing. Tony just never wanted to capitalize on him. Or, they just had a lot of different creative differences. And I'm pretty sure also Miro divorcing from CJ Perry was also a cause in that rift as well. Then we have Malakai Black, who his contract, I think, was supposed to end either this month or next month. Which that's another person that, when you have him get 2 big victories and one of them be a squash on your biggest star, Cody Rhodes, who is now the biggest star in WWE, you had something special. And surprisingly, again, Tony Khan just didn't know what to do with him. Well, he did move the House of Black, but he could have made House of Black so much bigger and so much dominating. Like, anytime that they would have championships, they were just holding props. And I think the only singles title match Malakai ever had was when he feuded with Cope for the TNT title. I definitely think, though, he's coming back to WWE. Especially because when Triple H first took over, there was rumors that he was trying to communicate with stars in AEW to see if they wanted to come back. And I'm pretty sure Aleister Black was one of them. And I'm hoping he will be back soon. If he comes back, he will probably come back after WrestleMania. As I said before, though, if you bring him back, give him Root of All Evil again. Because that would be freaking awesome if they did that. And finally, of course, Ricky Starks, who had not had a match in AEW, I think since March of last year. Obviously, I feel like some of this might have been the fact that he was a Punk supporter and whatnot. And, probably the reason why I talk on TV, because Tony's that petty, and he has to, instead of just having people talk it out like men, they have to sign NDAs and restraining orders and all that crap, and it's just ridiculous. But the good news is 24 hours after Ricky got released, he debuted in NXT. Yep, he's already here. So, he's already in the right spot. I think Ricky's really going to thrive being in NXT. Malakai, like I said, Aleister Black should be awesome. I don't know, though, if Miro will come back. I don't know. I have this little feeling that there's a chance, because of his divorce and everything, he may not. But you never know. I think it's possible. But we'll see, of course. But yes, I'm pretty sure if Triple H brings in Malakai Black, gives him Root of All Evil back, I think you'll have another main event right there. Like I said, when Paul Heyman was the executive director or executive producer for Raw for a while, and he what's it called? And when he originally put Drew McIntyre in the spot to get his push he did in 2020, again, I've heard rumors that apparently Aleister Black was his second choice, which I can believe. He'll be a main eventer. And like I said, Ricky Starks in NXT, that's an excellent move there. I was shocked to hear he already made his way over to the company when I got home the other night. But yeah, that's all the releases, guys. Leave your guys' thoughts on the releases. Before we get to the Raw review, let us check the live chat really quick. Dakota SZN says, Yeet J better not lose at Mania. I don't think he will. Tiffany better not lose to Charlotte Mania. I may actually lose my shit. And else Tiffany is the most popular female. You've seen her. Like I said, I do think that if Tiffany does face Charlotte, Tiffany should win. It would really put her over big time for sure if she would. Says, why is WWE not putting Rhea and Io at Chamber? Yeah, you could have said that as a pay-per-view match. Because right now, the only 2 matches we have announced are the Chamber match and the qualifiers. We don't have any other matches. They're doing Io and Rhea, though, on the Raw after Chamber. I think you could have done that at Chamber, if I'm being honest. Why is Logan Paul still here? Because, of course, he is just going to be. Also, the most shocking to him is Cedric Alexander, since he was getting screen time in NXT. Like I said, I still wonder if it was kind of like it was with Dijak. They put him down there, basically, got, what they could out of him, and then, just let his contract expire or get released. So I think that's a very situation with Cedric, why he got sent back to NXT. Cedric will join Lashley and MVP in the following AEW. Why don't AEW just let Rey Fenix go? Right? You could let him go next, Tony. You could, him or even Wardlow, but who knows? Another WWE question, Mike, but why does it feel like Tony is the new Vince? You're not lying. Like, is he as heartless as Vince? No. But he's definitely, especially, like I said, after watching the Vince McMahon docuseries, you can see him get more and more instincts like Vince McMahon. He is becoming his own worst enemy. I mean, wrestling matches are phenomenal, but again, the storytelling just sucks for AEW. Quenching my thirst. What else we got here? Where's Ricky going to go by WWE? They didn't say his name. Hopefully Ricky Starks, I think so. The AEW Australia show is a mess and no one wants to see it. I ain't watching it. Like I said, the card is not that great. Like, okay, that tag match with Kenny and Ospreay and the Don Callis family will be good. And I do think Tony and Mariah will be good. Everything else I just don't give a crap about at all. And yes, it was handled horribly. Between going to switching to a smaller venue like they did in like a totally different vicinity, and then the fact that it's going to be taped and airing after the NBA All-Star Game is just absolutely ridiculous for sure what they did with that. W book stars way better than AEW. Look at Cody, Ethan Page, and Penta. For sure, like, there's some that are damaged goods, some that they tried but it didn't work. But again, at least you're not trying to purposely piss us off, as I always say. AJ should not be on Raw. He should be on SmackDown. It is what it is, Tyler. It's been so long since I caught your live. Triple H says everyone says is the best, and Aleister Black needed to win world title under Triple H. I think he would have a chance to win a world title under Triple H for sure. But thank you to Dakota and Tyler in the live chat. I am going to now talk about Raw real quick, and then I'm going to go upstairs. So Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw took place this past week in Nashville, Tennessee. The show opened up as the way the past few shows have opened up. Well, Raw and SmackDown. With Yeet! Main event Jey Uso comes out. Typical thing. Super over like Rover. Even does a thing again where he wants to restart the music. But this time instead, he got attacked by Gunther, who's been telling him, don't pick me or you'll regret it. And after the beatdown, Jey Uso grabbed the microphone and basically made the match for WrestleMania 41 official. Like I said, I do think, especially with a lot of people saying that, they're tired of Gunther versus Jey, which I understand. But like right now, like especially, him getting that Rumble win kind of gives him a boost. So I still think that if they really want to make it a little different, they still have to make that match 2 out of 3 falls at WrestleMania. And Jey should win at WrestleMania. So that's awesome there to start off the show. Backstage, Rhea was being interviewed saying Charlotte is stalling and wasting everyone's time trying to stall and stay relevant. Io Sky and Dakota Kai roll up, and Io says she's going to see Rhea at WrestleMania. Which later in the show, where they talked out how, Rhea accidentally cost Io her spot. And on the Raw after Chamber, which again, I agree, they could have put this match at Chamber. They're going to do Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. That is still a pay-per-view quality match, but, should be a good match to throw on Raw. So we have that interview right there. Then we have Damage Control versus Judgment Day. Match was fine. Io and Dakota would go on to win the match. Don't know if that's going to get them started into the tag team picture because Liv and Raquel each have a tag title match as well against Bianca and Naomi, which I'm sure that'll probably happen. They'll probably get the titles right when it's revealed as to who attacked Jade Cargill, which you still haven't found out yet. But in the tag match, was solid. Damage Control won. This was actually Dakota's first match back since she took that freaking crazy drop kick from Zoe Stark when they fought the Pure Fusion Collective and whatnot. We also get a video package of Sami Zayn suffering his spinal injury from Kevin Owens last week. Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley had a match for a qualifying match. And the match was really good, don't get me wrong. It was a very competitive match. It bothers me, though, that Lyra lost. Because ever since she's won the title, like, she was in Rumble, but she was the second woman eliminated. Yes, it continues the teases for, what's it called now? It continues the teases for, Ivy and Lyra, but still, it's like, you could have booked her a little stronger. She could have been in the Rumble for a little bit longer, and I still think she should have been inside the chamber instead of Bayley. But, despite the fact that I'm not sure why they went with the decision they did, it was still a competitive match. And Bayley, of course, won, but we gotta give Lyra some wins as Intercontinental Champion. Penta gets a hype reel where he talks about how he has no fear in Ludwig Kaiser or Pete Dunne. He'll teach them what true vengeance feels like. Ludwig's interviewed and backstage, and Pete Dunne rolls up and says he never helped someone like Kaiser, and he was just getting in his way. He's going to break Penta so bad, he's going to wish he never came here. And then Ludwig tells him he's all his. So I'm sure we're going to get in a match between Penta and Pete Dunne, which should be pretty good. Backstage, American Made roll to check on Lyra Valkyria before Alpha Academy rolls up, and Ivy now makes fun of Lyra and says she's coming for a title, and the Creeds are going to win the World Tag Titles later on in the show. We'll get to that shortly. AJ Styles also had a promo which he's now on Raw thanks to the transfer window, and he talks about, of course, he takes in the Thunderstorm's AJ Styles chances. Also, he came back to his old theme music as well, too, not the new one he had last year. But basically, he gives like a heartfelt thing, saying how he thought at first his career is over, but then, of course, he came back, and he's ready to fight. Dominik, Mysterio, and Carlito come out, and basically it's set up for a match next week with AJ Styles and Dominik Mysterio. Woohoo! Very cool. Seth Rollins also gets an interview up in the stands before he got interrupted by his opponent next week, Finn Balor. Basically just say how they're each going to win, but we all know Finn's going to lose. That's all he does is nothing but lose. So we, of course, had that there as well. Let's see what we got here. AJ Styles, of course, also had a run-in with Braun Breaker. I know I predicted that match to happen... that match happened maybe at Chamber, but I think it's gonna. They may wait till WrestleMania, which then again, if that's the case, then who the heck's Logan Paul gonna fight? Ugh. We had the Creed Brothers versus the Ward Raiders for the World Tag Titles. Match was good. The ending though was random with them using the lunchbox. I don't know if that's just more established some more of a heelish side to them or something, or made it look more dangerous. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, where that goes. But, of course, the War Raiders won by disqualification. And the Creed Brothers just beat them down and whatnot. So, odds will be even. They will eventually, I think, drop the tag titles to the Creed Brothers. As I think it is very necessary that everyone in that group does get a championship. Finn Balor, of course, berates, Judgment Day for, not keeping him involved in certain things or whatnot, and that's that. CM Punk cut a promo about, first to put over Jey Uso, and then about, his journey to WrestleMania going through the freaking Elimination Chamber. He fired a few shots, including saying, John Cena is a legend who deserves to call his shot. But the bad news is that he's busted his ass to qualify for Chamber. And at some point, he's going to beat the living crap out of Cena, of course, as well, he said, too. As, of course, obviously, John kind of got some things handed to him. He can't deny that. And then Logan Paul interrupts Punk. I know there's rumors of doing that match at WrestleMania. If, of course, it was... I lost my train of thought there again. Oh, yeah. They're seeming to tease CM Punk and Logan Paul. That's a match where I'm like, okay, but at WrestleMania, really? But we'll see where it goes. But basically, he comes out here, kind of teases the match with CM Punk, which, again, I'm not the biggest fan if they would do that. But then we have Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio in the main event for Logan Paul to qualify. Best part in the match for sure was definitely that finish with what he calls now the pulverizer or whatnot. Is this me also, or does Logan seem more lazy when he's wrestling on a regular show and not at a wrestling show, whatever it's called? But yeah, that's gonna do it for my review of Raw. I see your guys' thoughts in the live chat. I think where we were at, if I can do it really quick here. I think we're with Jay Gunther should be the night 1 main event and give Charlotte the night 2 main event. Doubt it, but it would be nice for the women for sure, but I doubt they're going to do it. And Solo should not fight Cody. He lost him twice to the title. I agree as well. Again, yes. I don't know where he was at. He must have been high or something. He just sneaked right up on us when Solo came back and attacked Cody. But like I said, we've already seen the match, but, whatever for sure. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for this review. I kind of fly through the releases and, other stuff on this stream. I'm sorry it took a little longer. It's just had some technical issues, but we're good. We're back in business. Voila. So, guys, what are your guys' thoughts on this episode of Raw? I gave the B- and the recent releases as well. Where do you think some of these people will go? Leave your guys' thoughts again down in the comment section below. Be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, the Club of the Man 93. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night, and do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!